all animals in this world deserve the 5 freedoms of animal welfare. So the 5 freedoms outline 5 aspects of animal welfare under human control, and these freedoms were developed in response to a 1965 UK government report on livestock husbandry and were formalized in 1979 press statement by the UK Farm Animal Welfare Council. So these 5 freedoms have been adopted by many professional organizations such as the Worldwide Organization for Animal Health and other hospitals and veterinarians. So there are 5 freedoms of animal welfare. Firstly, freedom from hunger and thirst. So all animals deserve to have food and drinks prepared for them in order for them to have the basic necessity to live on. So the second one is freedom from discomfort. So they have to have a really warm and loving environment for them to survive, and not just a very secluded and very tarnished canals for them, so it's a clean environment for them. So the third one is freedom from pain, injury or disease, especially animal abuse. With these freedoms of animals have the rights to stay from any kind of abuse, and they have to have proper health care for them to survive and live on healthily. So the fourth one is freedom to express normal behavior. So they have to have their own compound and area, and owners should not restrict animals from living their life and doing their normal activities, and instead of restricting them to carry on such activities. So the last one, finally, freedom from fear and distress. So animals should live under a very loving and caring environment by their owners and people around them, instead of living in fear every day because they are afraid that once they do something, they will be abused by their owners.
So in regards of our 5 freedoms of animal welfare, we have found a society on animals on Facebook page named Second Chance Animal Shelter. Second Chance Animal Shelter started from the rescue of 12 motherless fur babies at a wet market in Jalan Kelang Lama in September 2009. It is operating as an NGO, a no-kill animal shelter, and currently there is over 500 strays and abandoned dogs under the care of the shelter. This shelter was founded by Kim, also known as Andy Kim. Over the years, SCAS has saved more than 1,000 stray dogs in Selangor and successfully rehomed about 50% of them. At SCAS shelter, we believe every dog deserves a second chance. So we have conducted a documentary based on this society, and we have visited the society. This is how Second Chance Animal Shelter looks like from the outside. There is a dog at the door to greet you. As you can see, it's located in a very rural area in Hulu Langat. It is surrounded by the woods. On the day of our visit, there were 3 other volunteers with us. The first is Jimmy. The second is Nice Auntie, who helps clean the dog's ears and treat their fleas. The third is another auntie. After some awkward introductions, we got to work. The worker, he gave us some green paint and led us into the kennels where it housed 400 plus dogs. It was as if the dogs knew there was someone new here and they were welcoming us. It sounded like this. The worker assigned us which kennel we were supposed to paint, and we quickly got to work.
It's 30 minutes. Okay, 1 hour and 30 minutes. We are done painting the canals.
My name is Kim. Most people call me Auntie Kim. I'm the volunteer and the committee members of this Second Chance Animal Society. And currently we have 500 rescues animals in the shelters, and we have 3 workers plus the volunteers are taking care of these animals. Actually, our shelter started is sometime back September 2009. That one starting with the 12 puppies. That time, a group of the animal lovers would like to rehome the puppies. That's how we started. Those dogs in the shelter mainly is from people call us and ask to help to take in. When the adopter wanted to adopt the dogs from our shelters, the procedure is that make sure they have the landed property for them to run, and they are committed to take out the responsibility of the dogs. Basically, they must have some knowledge of having a dogs. So basically, usually we encourage them, if for beginners, we encourage them to take the adult dogs. If have the dogs experience, having dogs experience, if they want to take the puppies, they are most welcome. And all dogs in the shelter are up for adoptions. 1 month we need about 30 to 40,000 to maintain this shelter, which have 500. More than 500 rescues animals. The chances of being adopted actually very slim. Hardly one dog being adopted in a month. But most important is to neuter the pets. The reason is two. One is for medical reason, that the doctor advised that those pets being neutered will have less illnesses. The second main reason is the neutering the pets will curb the populations, curb the numbers of stray dogs, reduce the number of stray dogs. Motivation that keep us going is because of our passion towards the animal. In future, we are planning to have a neutering program, so that encourage people to neuter their pets, because our vision is to reduce the number of stray. The only solution to reduce number of stray is to neuter. So lastly, the message that we want to put it to the public is, please adopt the dogs, don't buy, and neuter your pets, don't multiply. By doing that, actually you're helping the society to reduce the number of stray and create a healthy environment. Thank you.
As a Muslim, even a foreigner back in Brunei, I never encountered dogs. Yeah, I do see dogs in Brunei, but then I never touch them or even be around them. So this trip to the animal shelter was my first experience on meeting dogs. So you could feel how I was so scared. I was like a scary cat shaking like a leaf. Once we met them, they were all over us, and I was ready to cry on the spot. But then, as times pass, I fell in love. I fell in love with a few dogs actually. While while everyone was doing their job, I, as a camera woman, was talking to other dogs, and that one dog who kept on smiling, begging me to talk to him, and I really feel so sad. And it's so sad to sheltered, or like nobody is there for them to love. And I, as an animal lover, feel that it's wrong, and everyone should do their role as a decent human. Don't abuse them, don't just neglect them on the road. Be there, you can even adopt them, make a change.
Okay, so initially I felt quite scared because the shelter was in such a rural area in Hulu. It was like so inside Hulu that there wasn't even a tar road, it was just rocks. And I'm a city girl, I've never been out of town, so I was quite scared. I felt like this is totally out of my comfort zone. And I felt even more scared when I entered the shelter because all the dogs, like around 500 of them, were like barking, they were like jumping around, and then they were humping you, they were humping my friends, and they were like sniffing me, they were sniffing my legs, sniffing my ass. They were really doing that. But after they finished sniffing, they became very cute. They just didn't bother us anymore. They would still walk around us, but they weren't jumping on us anymore. And they were so calm and cute and docile. I couldn't help but fall in love with them. Some of them would just lie under the sun, just like they're really cute.
Our documentary is to visit an animal shelter, and it was not easy throughout the visit. The animal shelter is far from the town, and as well as most of our member hometown. So we took public transport and Grab to there. Once we reached there were a lot of dogs barking and welcomed us warmly. We managed to get along with them, although we felt strange initially after we painting the kennel and playing with them. The workers also treated us nicely. However, we faced a problem when we were leaving, which we can't find any cars to fetch us out. So we forced to walk all the way out to find a car. Luckily, we met a guy, which also the volunteer of the shelter, who called Jimmy, who was willing to give us a ride to find a car at the town. We felt grateful, and we realized the importance of transportation. However, it's still a good experience to visit the shelter and to play with the fur kids. I would also like to thanks to my group mates for being cooperative throughout the documentary. I hope this documentary would make you pay more attention on the fur kids and care them more. Me being a pet lover, I'm not able to adopt the fur kids, but if you are able to do that, adopt them instead of buy them. Thank you.
Okay, so the title of our documentary is actually Second Chances, with the aims and purpose of ingraining a sense of responsibility in pet owner, as well as educating the public on the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, persuading people to actually adopt instead of buying pets from local store, as well as to nurture a feeling of sympathy and love for animals. So basically, we had a chance to go to an animal shelter in Hulu Langat, a very rural area. So when we first got into the shelter, it was like the scariest moment of my life because I'm so afraid of dogs. But I just have to because I need to do my assignments. So yeah, we went in and we were ambushed by, like, oh my god, I don't know, the huge amount of dogs, and it was so scary. But it was really kind of nice because they're actually really beautiful because they have to depend on the supply that people give instead of just having a really good environment as other dogs living at home. So they are really friendly, and we had a chance to paint their kennels. It was really a great experience. We get to experience a lot of things, as well as we met this auntie, a volunteer, and she was really kind of loving to these animals. So yeah, from her I got to learn that we have to be really selfless in order to do such charity work, and yeah, it's really nice to get to know her. So as a leader of the group, I have
to learn a lot of things as well, especially leadership skills and communication skills, because I have to liaise with the NGO. It was kind of hard for us to approach NGO as a group of students, but fortunately I have a group of really supportive and really proactive members, and they really helped me a lot. So we work well together as a team, and I would like to encourage all to adopt strays instead of buying them at stores, because there's just huge amount of strays in the world. So why do you have to buy when you already have this huge amount of strays animals loitering on the road and all that? So yeah, love animals. Okay.
So this was my first time to visit the animal shelter, and I remember when I first stepped into the shelter, I really impressed that they are taking care of more than 400 or 500 stray dogs in shelter, and I believe their kindness and dedication toward these dogs and has touched a lot of people's hearts, and I think that this is the reason why they are getting more volunteers coming and helping out in the shelter. And there were also some frequent volunteers went there every week to help out to feed the dogs and shower them. So during my first visit, I was really excited and we managed to pen the kennels. At first, I was kind of afraid of the dogs because they are all jumping around and barking at you, but when you get closer to them, you realize they are actually not that scary. So basically, I think I had a great time, and volunteering in a shelter was a really good experience. And what I want to say is that running a shelter is not as easy as you think, because imagine they have to feed each of them every single day, and it needs a lot of kibbles and it costs them a lot. So if you are watching this video and you're interested to help them, so just go there and help as much as you can, because what you did mean a lot to them. So if you know anyone around you wanted to have a dog, just encourage them to adopt one from the shelter, because once they are adopted, there are more spaces for other stray dogs on the street. So why don't just give them a second chance to have a home and reduce the stray dogs on the street.
Sun?
Hi! Okay, knowing that we are going to an animal shelter, I was actually nervous and excited at the same time. I felt that there are hundreds of dogs there, which I have never encountered so many at once. I was actually quite surprised that the animal shelter was in a rural area. The moment I entered the small gate, a pack of dogs just sort of like pounced on me and started sniffing me. This is my first time having so many dogs around me. Thank God they weren't aggressive. We helped painted the canals. At first the dogs were very active, but they calmed down afterwards. Then I realized that they were just being curious. They were actually very friendly. I'm very touched when I get to meet a few kind-hearted regular volunteers. They are willing to sacrifice their time just to give love and care to the dogs. Another unexpected experience is that we had to walk back until we get to book Grab. Then after walking for about 20 minutes, Jimmy, who was a volunteer we met earlier, offered to give us a ride. Thank you so much, Jimmy. I also want to thank my group members who are so enthusiastic and so supportive throughout the whole journey. Overall, my misconception on stray dogs has changed. They were neither aggressive nor ill-behaved. They need care as much as other domestic dogs are receiving. If you wish to have a dog as a pet, just go and adopt them from shelters rather than buying them from pet shops. There are so many out there waiting for you to provide them a warm and lovely environment. Yeah, that's all I guess. Thank you!
For your information, the Second Chance Animal Society needs 15,000 ringgit to vaccinate over 500 dogs. Please show your support by donating money to help in this meaningful vaccination project.
You may contribute any amount to Second Chance Animal Society by the following with the remark vaccines. Thank you.